You won't believe what just shot out of the tailpipe once it took off. Okay, so here, the one that came in the F350 had this broken nipple. He just put a screw in it. So I have the one that pulled out of the Excursion. It was still functioning. I just upgraded to an aluminum one, which, if everything works out good on this F350, we'll do the same thing. Don't know what brand I'll go with. I went with Mishimoto on the Excursion, but I know there's some other options, so hey, we'll see. But this one's in good shape, didn't leak. Nipple's still there. The only thing is I had to pull these out for the Mishimoto. So I just pulled these off of his old F350 one. Now I'm gonna stick them in there, clean them up with some brake cleaner. You can let no 4.5, 5. They switched to kind of like quick disconnect fittings on here instead of the threaded. But all right, let me get these. It's gonna be fun kind of trying to fish that in there to the oil cooler, and then I'll blow air through it. We already degreased the inside of it, put some degreaser and rinsed it out real good. I'll get this transmission cooler line connections on, and we'll be able to put the radiator in the truck. All right, we kind of called it early yesterday, called it early day. Decided to put a family pool up. It's supposed to be in the hundreds this coming weekend. So we finished off yesterday getting in the radiator. Got to get the upper and lower radiator hose in. We got the intercooler in, transmission cooler, and air conditioning condenser. We're going to draw a vacuum. Luke went through and cleaned up his power steering cooler fins, straightened them up, looks real good. So this morning I'm going to jump on and get these radiator hoses on. We'll get the intercooler pipes put in, the battery trays, then start adding fluids. We need to put oil in the engine, water, and cooling system flush in. We need to put transmission fluid in, power steering fluid in, get all that in there. And I'll probably do just a crank over a couple times to get everything circulated, get the oil flowing before we try to fire it up. We got to cycle the key a few times, get that fuel system primed if the fuel pump works. So we're coming down to where we get to find out if there's anything else wrong with the truck in regards to the fuel system and whatnot. So Thickum, it's got the original Thickum. Yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully it was just a wiring issue, but let's get to it. All right, the kids and I are cleaning up the intercooler pipes. Pretty nasty, but the guy definitely liked the silicone. He siliconed his boot on there, so I'm guessing he had some intercooler leaks. So we're gonna clean these up. I'm gonna try to use a wire wheel, get all this silicone off, and we won't be using. I was gonna keep these as spares. This is a backup, but I don't think it's worth doing that. I should have some extra ones laying around. We'll have spare boots in each truck just in case we blow one sometime. But I'm gonna pull the ones off the Excursion for this, and we'll just get new ones for the Excursion. I replaced the Excursion ones about 2 years ago, so when I did everything else to it. So all right, we're gonna try to clean this up. No, we leave that on there. It's kind of like an insulator, keeps the transfer of heat a little better. We got that here all cleaned up. We got all the silicone off. All I used was a wire wheel on my little drill, and it took that silicone off. I think it'll probably help it seal real good too. But next this one's not as bad as the other side, so we're gonna clean the inside of this. All we do, you can see how Luke's doing it, some degreaser. It works really good to clean the inside of those. So all right, we're gonna get this all cleaned up so we can get them on and get the boots out. Pretty nasty. All right, Luke's putting oil in his truck. We're kind of delayed. The lower radiator, we have to get an updated 05 and newer lower radiator hose. before we can finish putting this stuff together. Just be easier to get to. So the wife's in town doing the weekly grocery shopping, so she's gonna swing by AutoZone and pick up a hose. They have it in stock. Once she gets back with it, we will finish this off. But right now, we got the driver's side cat tube on, the hot side all clamped up to the turbo, all the way down to there. Once he's done with the oil, we're gonna put the battery in. We got the hood latch installed. I think then we'll put the bumper on, and maybe the header panel, headlights, and grill. So it's going along. Hopefully shortly after they get back from grocery shopping, we'll be getting this thing, see if it'll fire off. Still got to put the hood on too. So the oldest son is with the wife shopping. So once he gets back, he can help me put the hood on probably. So won't be long. All right, Jenna's put transmission fluid in our Mercron SP. We got battery installed. Got it on the charger just to keep her fresh. Can't do much more on this side. I started my catch can setup. Also have the front bumper on. It's bolted on, but it's not tight. So we can adjust it when we put the header panel on. So all the bolts are in. Driving lights are plugged in. Engine block heater's coming out. We'll route that some way when we get a chance. So I think next we'll put the header panel on and maybe get the headlights on. Still waiting on that hose so we can finish this driver's side. So she's coming along. Luke's putting the steering wheel cover on. Okay, so we got the new hose, and for the 06, the 03 runs behind it and straight down this way to the inside of the power steering pump. The 06 comes out and around and runs down the bottom of your cooling fan. So what we have to do is we're gonna cut the shroud out. Just this section right here should be enough. We'll cut it. Maybe we'll just take it up right to this piece here and round it out. And because right now it'll go on, but this will sit there and dig into the hose. So we're just going to eliminate it. And then I'm still going to put some chafing. I got old hoses that I'll cut a section off and zip tie it on. So that's what we're going to do. And then hopefully that's it. So let's get to it. All right, so we removed this little section. The hose was rubbing right here. So that just snaps off the shroud. And you can see now we got plenty of clearance. So that looks pretty good. We got our hoses back on. I'm gonna get a piece of rubber. It's not touching. I'll just get some old hose and put it right here in case it does get soft and start rubbing. It could rub a hole in it. So I don't want to worry about that. And then I'm just gonna check on the bottom, make sure everything looks good there. Then we can put our intercooler pipe on and battery tray, air box, all the good stuff. Be ready to fire this off. What's that? Is it on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes on.
Warm. Oh, it's white. Oh, is it like alcohol? The whole thing?
Yep, 12 quarts. I think this is a little bit more, but I don't think your system is all there. Actually, when everything stops clicking, shut it off and wait a minute or two. You guys gonna... Is that going to allow that electric pump to keep pushing air out of the system? Sorry,
There you go.
turn it off. Do it again. Do you hear the pump at all down there? And then when it shuts off, you can shut the key off.
There's that one splash right there.
Probably oil. Now we get to find out if the thickening's good. Yeah, it's low.
This looks like corn oil.
Corn oil?
Mm-hmm.
Cooking oil? You definitely don't want to use cooking oil in this. Just let it sit. We're going to check it, see if things will go more.
You guys didn't take down the bumper yet.
No, we figure we do that after we run it for a minute and then shut her down.
It have to be between or inside a minute, right? So 60 seconds.
About a minute will be okay. We got quite a bit of oil in there. We're doing it. If they didn't do that crank like that, then yeah. Looks like we need a little bit more, huh?
Yeah.
It's the blood of the engine. A little bit more.
Yeah.
There you go. That's probably good. Yeah, sounds like it. Go ahead and fire it up. Crank it over. Turn it off, let it cool. After the glow plug, you can fire it. Alright.
What if you just pull it back instead of pulling the tank over?
I'm still gonna get the tank.
Or just fuel up one of those red tanks you get. You fuel up at fuel amp areas.
Alright. We got it running. You won't believe what just shot out of the tailpipe once it took off. Little nest was up in there. She was hard to start. It took a little bit for that high pressure oil pump to build up the pressure. You go pop your hood. Sounds good. She's quiet, smooth. It's been a while since I heard Powerstroke. I let the shroud off just for me to look at it. We got coolant flush in there. So we should probably shut it off and we'll check the transmission fluid. All right, so we got it running yesterday evening, but we didn't have any voltage coming, no charging voltage. So I didn't want to drive it too much, pulled out of the shop, so I closed up the shop. But this is the alternator that came with the truck. So I wasn't sure if it worked or not. So we're gonna pull it off. I have an extra one that came with the engine that we put in the truck. We'll swap it out, see if that one charges. If it doesn't, then the excursion one will. I know it works, but yeah, let me get that swapped out. We'll see if she works after that. Okay, so I'm trying to run the temperature up, so I'm using my scanner. I got the RPMs up to around just under 1200, but it's kind of interesting because I'm getting some weird spikes. You'll see that if you look at my injection control pressure versus desired control pressure, it stays fairly constant, and then you'll see a spike. Let's see if it does it now that I got the camera on. So what I was seeing, it was spiking up to like 3,000, 5,000, and then right back to 700 and plus. Now it's probably not good. There it is. So you saw that 5,000. So the other issue we have is long crank to start. So it takes a while for it to build its injection, its pressure. There it goes again, 5,200. So we're getting some weird spikes. So because it takes a while for it to start, quite a bit of cranking time, and the idle seems to be a little off. It seems high. I'm wondering if I never did replace the ICP. I ran with the old one just because this one particular engine, it's up on the valve cover with the updated 06 engine, and I knew it was easy to change. Now, it's not an expensive sensor. I think I got one on Amazon. I just ordered it, and but it won't be here until next week. So I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't just swap it out. That way I can move on with this. But just give you some good diagnosis, I guess. I don't know for sure if that's going to fix it, but I'm going to definitely rule it out. I'm getting a Motorcraft one, and we'll see how it is. Right now, I just got it elevated about 1200 RPMs. And the transmissions also didn't seem like it was shifting correctly, so we'll see. I do have to do a VGT calibration on it, but right now my goal is just to get the coolant temperature up so I can flush out the reservoir, or flush out the cleaner, and then run some clean water through it to rinse any residue out, and then we'll get the antifreeze in there. I want to do that as soon as possible so we don't have any corrosion, anything like that. We want to keep a clean engine. Once I have that, when we did start up last night, the alternator was not putting out any voltage. It did run. It blew a whole bunch of crap out of the tailpipe. I don't have any check engine lights, but last time we did start it, we had a battery light and a ABS light, and the brakes were super spongy. Didn't want to run it without the alternator putting out charges. I didn't want to destroy the batteries. So this morning I had a spare alternator. I slapped that on. It was used, and it's working. Once it's fired right up, started charging, I'm getting about 13.8 volts. So that's good. Between 13.7, 13.8. So that's working. I don't have the ABS light anymore. The brakes feel great. So right now I think it's just possibly that ICP sensor. So we'll get that swapped out. I also ordered a anti-drain back valve for inside the filter housing, just in case the ICP doesn't fix it, because it seems like it takes a while for it to build oil pressure when you're cranking it. So I'm thinking it might be draining back into the system, but we're gonna just let it run, get it up. I'm gonna get it up to temperature nice and good, and go from there. Keep you guys updated. So far we got a driving truck. Just gotta work out the kinks. All right, Luke just got done topping off the coolant. We got it flushed out, all put back together. We got our extended life coolant in there. We're just loading it up, trying to get the air bubbles out. Got it at about 1200 RPM, high idle. Put our fan shroud back in. So that glitching that I saw on my scanner, I changed out the scanner, and it seems to be working. Looks like we got a headlight out. Daytime running lights engaged, so we'll see. And we're just gonna get it running up to temp here.
That's gonna be it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching.